Shalom, shalom, Israel's brothers. Abba Yallah coming back at you with another cold cut. I like to give all honor and glory and praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. All right, I like to give double honors to the men out there teaching, doing breakdowns, exhorting, right, in these last days, watching, prophesying, right, building up the temple through the Spirit. Shalom, shalom. The mighty Akwath as well, guiding their households, doing everything they can, right, doing the works, the womanly works of a woman, right? And especially in these last days, bearing the troubles of education if they have children, shalom, shalom, and the mighty children out here as well, abstaining from peer pressure and doing all they can in the work of Yahweh Shem Yahshua through faith, right? And now Passover is coming nigh. She's drawing nigh, right? 6 weeks away to Passover, right? And we want to be moving in the spirit of our fathers, right? And chiefly this man, Salaki, around the time of Passover, Moses, right? He was that man, right, to make intercession for the children of Israel between the Most High and between our people. Now, obviously, Yahweh Shah came on the scene, and now he makes intercession for our sins. But let's see how this man, Moses, was walking during the ancient world, during the time of the Passover. And let's see the spirit that he had, right? And we want to see if we can apply that to our spirit as well, right? We want to be like this man. Let me go to Sirach chapter 44. I'm going to start at verse 1. Right, this is the book of Sirach 44:1. Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us. The Lord hath wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning, such as did bear rule in their kingdoms. Men renowned for their power, giving counsel by their understanding and declaring prophecies. Leaders, Salakia, right, leaders of the people by their counsels and by their knowledge of learning, meet for the people, wise and eloquent in their instructions. And this is all the attributes of the leaders of our people that they've done, right? They gave counsels by their understanding. They had knowledge, right? They had learning, meet for the people, right? They bear rule in their kingdom. They were leaders, right? And it says, verse 5, such as found out musical tunes and recited verses and writing, rich men furnished with ability living peaceably in their habitations. So the Lord said, let's praise famous men, right? Let's glorify the righteous things that these men have and that they received. Right, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 1. All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 1, because think about it. Their name lives forever. Their name lives on. People are still talking about this man Moses, man, examining what he did. People still talking about Ezekiel. People still talking about the apostles. People still talking, of course, the Lord. People still talking about Jeremiah. These men have their names written in the account of the scriptures forever. This Bible is translated in over 3,000 languages. In 3,000 languages, our forefathers are being talked about. Even though we got the truth, it's just that their name is declared throughout the earth because of their works. And the Most High did that. This is Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 1. A good name is better than precious ointment in the day of death than the day of one's birth, right? So the Lord said a good name is better than precious ointment. And the reason why the day of death, because all your works on the earth, right, is going to manifest who you was and who you were and what type of name did you bear. That's why it's better than birth. Right, let's go to Sirach 44 and verse 14. Let's jump down to verse 14. This Sirach 44 and I'll start verse 13. Their seed shall remain forever, and their glory shall not be blotted out, right? Their glory isn't blotted out. Like I said, we about to go into this man Moses, right? And this man Moses, right, he did a lot of things, as well as all our forefathers, right? And that we still glorify his name through Yahweh Shem Yahshua. And what? Verse 14, their bodies are buried in peace, but their name liveth forever. With their name liveth forevermore. See that? Their name lives forevermore. Right, like I said, we still talking about our forefathers. How can we obtain to that the Lord, he remembers us, right? You make it to the kingdom as part of the elect. Your name is going to be talked about forever. You're the first fruits into the Lord, right? You was resurrected on that chariot. You never even tasted death, if that would be your lot. You want your name to be talked about forever, man. Right? It's 2 Corinthians 13 and verse 5. Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know you not your own selves how that Yahweh Shah Mashiach is in you, except you be reprobate. So the Lord said, we got to prove ourselves through the Spirit, man. right? To see if we actually be in the faith. That's step one. You got to examine yourself. See what you do, see what you have, and how does that compare to our fathers in times of past, in times of old? How does that compare to our fathers and how they walked on the earth? What did they do? What did you do? Look at you, look at them, and examine yourself. Take what you have, right? That's profitable. The things that are not profitable, then throw those things away. See what your fathers did and add that to you. Right? That's what it means to examine yourself. Let's go to Sirach 45:1. That's what it means to examine yourself through the Spirit. All right? You lining up what you do according to what our fathers did in the scriptures or our mothers did. Right? This is Sirach chapter 45 and verse 1. Right? And he brought out of him a merciful man, which found favor in the sight of all flesh, even Moses, beloved of Yahweh and men, whose memorial is blessed. So the Most High blessed his memorial. It's called him the merciful man. Why they call him the merciful man? Because guess what, man? Moses was humble. Moses didn't cast this swift judgment all the time. He was a very, very, very merciful man. And to be merciful, you also have to be long-suffering. Right? These are the attributes of what the elect is going to have in that day. And I always bring this out. Let me go to Colossians chapter 3. You go to Colossians chapter 3, the elect is going to have mercy. Right? It's Colossians chapter 3. And I'm going to start at verse number 12. Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved. What's the first thing listed? Bowels of mercies. So one of the first attributes that's listed about Moses was that what? He was a merciful man. Are you merciful? Right? Are you a mercy? Or do you practice giving out mercy to your people? Or are you so quick to be judging? In wrath? In rebuke all the time? Are you merciful? Do you forgive? Are you long-suffering? Are you patient? All right, let's go back to that Sirach 45:1. So that's what one of the first attributes about Moses is that he's a merciful man. Right, Sirach 45:1. And he brought out of him a merciful man, which found favor in the sight of all flesh, even Moses, beloved of Yahweh and men, whose memorial is blessed. He made him like to the glorious saints and magnified him so that his enemies stood in fear of him. By his words he caused the wonders to cease, and he made him glorious in the sight of kings and made him a commandment for his people and showed him part of his glory, man. The Most High made him glorious in the sight of other men, in the sight of other kings. Moses was chosen for his work. Moses was chosen for what he did, man. Right? The Lord chose this man. And guess what? He made him glorified amongst of his enemies. I have allowed his enemies to be subdued unto him. Moses seen that with his own two eyes. Moses wasn't just no ordinary man. Moses, when you go into it, he was a war general, right? Damn general over Pharaoh's army. He knew about war. He knew how to, I mean, he knew history, linguistics, English. Not English, Shalakia, but, the language at the time. He knew how to write that language, right? Because, as you know, the writing system wasn't developed until, the Egyptian Empire. He knew how to do all these things. Moses was well studied. Moses wasn't just your average man just walking next to Pharaoh all day. Moses was a very, very, very high man. All right, let's get that in the book of Matthew chapter 17. All right, it's Matthew chapter 17. And verse number 1. Matthew chapter 17 and 1. And after 6 days, Yahushua taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. So Yahushua transfigured into a spiritual body. And Peter, James, and John seen this. Now let's see who comes after that. And behold, there appeared unto him Moses and Elias talking with him. So when Yahushua appeared in that spiritual body, and they seen Moses and Elijah, those two figures themselves, man, right? Out of all the men, the Lord chose those two men, right? Verse 4, to be talking with them in that vision. Verse 4, then answered Peter and said unto Yahushua, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, one for Elias. So Peter was like, hold on, Lord, let's make 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Slakia, one for Moses, and one for Elias, man. right? That's how high they were highly esteemed, until the Lord had to kind of, separate them and say, no, this is my chosen one, right? This is my chosen son, right? Hear ye him. But the point is, Moses was in that transfiguration with Elijah, right? So the Lord, I mean, like I said, Moses wasn't just no ordinary man. Moses is a man that we want to see what he did around the time of Passover, see if we can mirror some of those works as we draw closer to the Lord in these last days. Go to Exodus chapter 2 and verse 1. All right. Let's go to Exodus chapter 2 and verse 1. Let's go to origin of Moses. All right. This is the book of Exodus chapter 2 and verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bush rushes and daubed it with slime and pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river banks. And his sister stood afar off to wit what she would be to him. So in the beginning, Moses, he wasn't, he didn't grow up a certain way. Moses was shipped off as soon as he was 2-3 months old, man, because of the decree there was a lot of babies dying, and they wanted to protect Moses. So Moses, his mother kind of did what she had to do, and put him in a basket and flew him down the river through the spirit, man. I'm going to go to Acts chapter 7, verse 20. Moses didn't have it easy from birth. Right? I'm going to Acts chapter 7, verse 20. And it says, in which time Moses was born and was exceeding fair and nourished up in his father's house 3 months. So only 3 months he was in his father's house. And when he was cast out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up and nourished him for her own son. And Moses was what, like I said earlier, was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. It was mighty in words and in deeds. So Moses, like I said, he wasn't just no average man. He was learned in all wisdom of the Egyptians. He knew certain things. He went to certain schools at a high level, right? And mighty in words and in deeds. But what happened? Verse 23, and when he was full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. And seeing one of them suffered wrong, he defended them and avenged him that was oppressed and smote the Egyptians. So guess what? Moses said, you know what? Hold on. Forsake this life. He grew up damn son of Pharaoh's daughter. Right? Pharaoh, according to the Egyptians, is considered as a god. This man on the left-hand side was considered the son of God on the left-hand side to the Egyptians. Could have anything he wanted, any woman he wanted. He forsook all of that just for his own people. And that's through faith. Let me go to the book of Hebrews chapter 11. This is what Moses counted it all loss for the name of the Lord. How much more us? Don't we have to count this all loss for the name of the Lord? Right? It's Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 23. And it says, by faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents because they saw he was a proper child and they were not afraid of the king's commandment, right? Because the king wanted to kill the children, as I mentioned earlier. Verse 24, by faith, Moses, when he was come to years, as we read, 40 years old, what? Refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He didn't even want that title. He found out who he was. He was like, hold on, no, I ain't no Egyptian. Like how when you find out who you was, you say, I'm not no black person. I'm not no black person. I'm not no damn Latin, Hispanic person. Right? I'm not no Native American. I'm an Israelite. Wait, hold on, I'm a Hebrew. Right? But Moses, he said, I'm not no American. I'm not no Egyptian. He forsook all of that. He didn't even look back. Right? 25. And guess what? You may have had riches in the world. You may have had, money, cars, clothes, a good job, 401k. You may have had a social group. You may have had a lot of friends, a lot of people, a lot of followers on social media. Right? But guess what? You refused all of that for what? For the name of the Lord. That's what Moses did. He refused all of that. Gold, riches. I mean, like I said, being called the son of Pharaoh's daughter wasn't a light thing. Right? Verse 25, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. And that's called humility. You don't want to enjoy the pleasures of sin and eat at the table of the proud just for a season of time. just for a small period of time. He said, no, I'm going to make the bigger investment and serve the Most High, love my people, and then guess what? Get this kingdom. Because that's what's most important. Go to Proverbs 16 and 18. All right. All right, let's go to Proverbs chapter 16 and verse number 18. Right, and it says, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Better it is to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. And that's what Moses chose. Moses didn't want to divide the spoil with the proud Egyptians. He didn't want to divide the spoil with the proud damn dogs, man. He wanted to divide the spoil with his brothers. He wanted to be of a humble spirit with his brothers. That's what he chose. That's integrity. That's humility. That's meekness. That's showing mercy to your people. All right. So this Hebrews 11 and 26. Esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt. For he had recompense. For he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. Do you have respect unto the recompense of the reward? Do you have respect unto the Most High, saying that your labor is not in vain? Do you have respect unto the reward that's coming to you if you continue to do this work? All right. Do you esteem the riches of this world, America, cars, and different things, and this lifestyle more than the reproaches of Hamashiach? We would rather take the reproach. We would rather take the indignation. We would rather take the persecution that comes with being righteous. It's better than to be persecuted, for doing well than for not, man. Right? So we would rather get these things. Let me go to the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 11. So I can go to 1 Corinthians chapter 4, actually. So I can get over a cold, man. All right, bear with me. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 9. For I think that Yahweh have set forth us the apostles last, as it were appointed to death. For we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to angels, and to men. We are fools for Hamashiach's sake, but you are wise in Hamashiach. So if in this world, you looked at as a fool, you go out there every week screaming at the top of your lungs, reading an ancient book that nobody reads, right? But deem they believe in, and you scream and you get together with other brothers and y'all do the same thing. We look like fools out there, but in the Lord's eyes, we are wise, man. We know we're wise doing that, man, because we know what's laid out for us through faith, right? And it says, we are weak, but you are strong. You are honorable, but we are despised, man. Right? Even unto this present hour, we both hunger and thirst, and are naked, and are buffeted, have no certain dwelling place. Moses gave all of that up to endure this. When he was in the wilderness, he had no certain dwelling place. He used to probably be up in a damn king's bed. He could he'd do one of these. And then, he had 10, Egyptian women just kind of bring him certain things. But guess what? He gave up all of that to be what? To have no certain dwelling place. To endure trials and tribulations with his people. Right? Buffeted, suffering. Right? Esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach better than the riches of Egypt. And read verse 11 again. Even unto this present hour, we both hunger and thirst, and are naked, and are buffeted, and have no certain dwelling place, and labor, working with our own hands. Moses was working with his own hands. Over 600,000 footmen, women plus women and children, dealing with the matters of the people, dealing with murmuring, dealing with scoffing, right? Dealing with stiff-necked and hard-headedness, dealing with men that wanted to come up against him. These are the things Moses was dealing with. Let me go to the book of Numbers, chapter 22 and verse 1. Think of all the stuff that you have to come against you. All these demons, all these trials, all these tribulations. Seems like you don't get no rest. All right? You got people that look up to you, people calling your phone. People, they want counsel, and, they may have some money, or they need to go over some precepts with you, or they need to help you with. Hey, it seems like the work don't stop for you, man. Right, there's always a demon, and next your car blew, your car dead, and your tire got 3 bubbles in it, and you lost your wallet, and hey, guess what? You're deemed as a hate. Your family don't deal with you. These are all the things we got to go through. People coming up against you, right? Let's read about what happened to Moses. Numbers chapter 16. In verse 1. And it says, now Korah, the son of Azar, the son of Kahath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On. So you have 4 men. You have On, Dathan, Abiram, and Korah. Right? The son of Peleth, the sons of Reuben, took men. So these 4 men took about 250 other men. It's going to tell you. And they rose up before the Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. These aren't no ordinary men they gathered together. These are famous men. Everybody know who these men are. All right? Meaning their words had weight. So whatever they say, people respect it and listen to it. So you had 250 men come against who? All right? Verse 3, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, you take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore, then you lift you up yourselves above the congregation of the Lord. And this is what Moses had to deal with, working with his own hands. Here he is delivering you from slavery with the hand of the Lord, where he damn rejected everything he had, rejected his whole life just to help you get a better life and serve the Most High in your own land. And you come against Moses and do that. What did Moses do? Verse 4, and when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face. He didn't even yell. He didn't scream. He didn't cuss them out. The first thing Moses did was fall upon his face. That's humility. Moses has that meekness. Moses got that humility. Do we have that humility? Do we have that meekness? All right, let's go to Numbers 12 and 1. Who else came against Moses? All right, it's Numbers 12 and 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses. So here you have it, his brother and his sister speaking against him because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, hath the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Have he not spoken also by us? And the Lord heard it. But guess what? That it's lucky. That envy that they had against their brother, the Lord heard that. The Lord heard those words. Yeah, envy laid up in his heart. False brethren unaware, right? False sisters, in that case, unaware. So this is the life that we got to walk in these days leading up to Passover. And the Lord also walked this life as well. As we know, plenty of accounts in the gospel, the Lord walked in this life. All of our forefathers had to walk this type of life, man, rejecting who they were and coming into this thing and fulfilling their role, no matter how they felt about it, man. Right? Let's get this in Luke 17. Right? Luke chapter 17 and verse number 31. Right? Luke 17 and 31. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down and take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Remember Lot's wife. And what did Lot's wife do? She looked back. She looked back at the things that she had. She looked back at the way she prospered, probably in Sodom and Gomorrah. Because Lot, he wasn't no small man. He sat at the gates. He had wealth. He had, oxen. He had different things. But she looked back because there's some she was holding on to. Moses didn't look back. You can't look back. We can't look back. As we're approaching the days of evil, days of Passover coming up, and we know what happened on that Passover, the plagues of Egypt, man. More plagues going to come upon this Egypt. We see the things happening. We want to be, like I said, walking in the spirit of our fathers. And just to give an example, like Moses, what he went through, how he was treated, and what he gave up for the approach of the Most High. But I like to give all honor and glory and praise to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, you was edified. Salaki for the cough and over a sickness. But the water, for even watching this. And Lord willing, you was edified through the Spirit. So I like to be a mighty strong Shalom.